could provide what you want any time of the day. Yeah, you know it, what it do. Let me know if you've had enough. All of the secrets I've hid from you. What if I would stand in my truth? Would you stay and love me? Would you walk away? I don't fall for nobody unless they're holding on to me. Holding on to me.
We're back with another episode of the Randy Wilson podcast. I'm your host, Randy Wilson. This is episode 66, and we have a guest today with us by the name of Savvy G. But before we get into her, let's just take care of a little bit of business. I need you guys to hit the subscribe button. I need you to hit the notifications button, hit the little bell so that, you know, when the bell rings, you can be prepared to check the next episode of the Randy Wilson podcast. This podcast is streaming everywhere that podcasts are except SoundCloud. I don't know why they got problems with the show, so we're not even going to worry about that. One other thing I want to emphasize before we start the show, we spend so much time putting emphasis on other people's platforms. Go over and check out randywilsonpodcast.com. I own that, you know, and I think I need to start putting more effort into that platform and probably set up a store there, because right now we're sending so much business and so much attention to Spotify and Apple and Google, but we need to be more intentional in sending traffic to our platforms, the ones that we own. So anyway, shameless plug on that. But again, this is episode 66. This is season 4. We have Savvy G, and let me get into the introduction a little bit about her. All right. I'm not exactly sure how I came across Savvy G. Not sure if it was the dancing and ballerina stuff that she does. She is a former, I don't want to say former ballerina. Let's just say she's a professional dancer. Okay. And she's also an evolving musician and artist. And I say that because I think that she's a special talent that we're able to capture at this moment right now, because she's on her way up. Not exactly sure where she's from. I know that she's calls Richmond home. She spent time in Richmond. She's performed here and worked, I believe, is it the Richmond Symphony? Am I saying that correctly? Or excuse me, Richmond Ballet?
Worked with, yeah, so I've worked with both of them because the Richmond Symphony always does all the live shows for the Richmond Ballet. So I've worked with both of them, and the Virginia Repertory Theater. Yeah.
So she's got all of that down pat. Okay. She spent some time in DC, and now she's in my home area, Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm definitely going to be making efforts to plug her in with my folks down in that area, but extremely talented. I mean, extremely talented. She even has taken a passion in working with the children and the youths, and I find that very special. So, Savvy, it's just a pleasure to have you on. It seems to me that you have a very interesting story. Started dancing, it appears, at the age of 9, and by the age of 16, that's when you received your first contract with Richmond Ballet, and you performed there professionally. And so you've been on stage and you've been under the light for some time now. But you made the transition into music as a full-time priority. And we see still that you are still dancing. It appears to me that you putting a lot of effort into your music and your dancing right now. Like this is, you're making a full-time commitment. It appears that this is what you want to do. So hat off to you, you know, for
thank you.
You live in your God-given dream and using your God-given abilities and talents to make the life and career for yourself that you want. So we're really happy to have you on the show. I know my guests are happy. I know my guests are happy because I have a bad reputation for not having enough female guests on my show. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So let's get into your story a little bit, Savvy, because it's going to be a lot for me to learn. It's going to be a lot for the world to learn as well. Tell us a little bit about your story. Like, it obviously you got into your gift at a young age. Let's start with 16. Let's just go back to when you were 16 and you was performing on stage. Give us a little bit of background, like, you know, growing up, influences. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right. So, 16. So such a angsty age for most, but for me, it was a very pivotal time in my life because I had a lot of adult responsibilities at that age, but I was still in high school. I was doing that online, but yet I was living 2 hours away from my mom and, had a full-time job and living in an apartment. So it was, an interesting time. But at 14, I competed in an international dance competition called the Youth American Grand Prix. And I received a lot of offers and contracts to apprentice with different companies all over the US. And my mom was like, "You're way too young." So we waited until I was 16. And 2 months after my 16th birthday, I accepted a contract with the Richmond Ballet. And weirdly enough, at the same time that I moved to Richmond and I started dancing professionally with them, and I mean, that was 10 a.m. to, or 9 a.m. really with physical therapy all the way to 7 p.m. And before that, I was doing school at home. And after that, I was doing school at home. Meanwhile, also trying to move up the ranks at, the company, in the company. I actually came to find music at the same time, which was really interesting because you would think like at the peak of my career with dance, I would have really been super into that, but that's right when music was kind of finding me too. I picked up a guitar at 16, and that's what I asked for Christmas. My first Christmas away from home, I wanted a guitar, and pretty much I started not doing homework and coming home and writing songs. And it was, in ballet and in ballet class and trying to learn combinations, but was like writing lyrics in my head. And that started to just happen more and more and more. And at the same time, being on my own, I didn't have anybody telling me, you need to be home at this time or you can't hang out with these people. So I was meeting everybody in the city, like everybody, all different types of people, ages, whatnot. I was just out there. And musicians found me. Musicians everywhere found me. And I just was super influenced by it and loved it. And, Richmond, you're walking around, it's like house parties and house shows on every block. One, house, it could be alternative music. Next one, it could be rock. Next one, it's rap. It's really like that in Richmond. And that's what I was influenced by at 16 all the way to like 19. And, it was almost like, how could you walk the streets of Richmond and not be a musician? It really felt that way, honestly, to me, with the people I was around. So yeah, at 16, I was doing that. I picked up the guitar. I was writing songs. And I had my very first boyfriend as well. And he was a aspiring rapper. And that's the first time I had seen somebody go on YouTube, type in type beat and like make a beat, make a song to a random beat. I didn't know I'd never seen that. And I just kind of watched him, he was obsessed with it. I just watched him. Nobody really knew I could sing, like none of my friends. I never really sang around my friends. My close friends knew that I had a good voice, but it wasn't something I was doing. And I just kind of picked up on what he was doing and I liked it, and I was attracted to it. And I just decided to try it one day. And I wrote pretty dope song, and I performed it for some college kids one weekend. I was going to frat parties at 16 and I was around these kids. And I never lied about my age. Always honest because I have a baby face. So there was no getting away with that anyways. But, I told you I'm 16, and they all respected me. I was actually around a lot of really great people at that age and, girls, guys, and they were respectful of my age and kind of looked out for me. And I met the president of a fraternity and I was around a bunch of people and I just decided to sing this song. I'm a natural performer. And I was like, these are just average, kids. Let me sing my little song that I wrote. And they loved it. And they asked me to come back and perform it that weekend at their fraternity, like party thing. And I was monitored, not allowed to drink, not allowed to do anything. And they had me perform last. And it went from, hype, jumping up and down, crazy, to rocking back and forth, singing my songs, everybody's phones out, watching me. And I wrote that song 3 days before that. So it was kind of like, man, I felt really meant for this in that moment. And ever since then, I just have been chasing doing that. And
so let me ask you this.
What I love to do.
Let me ask you this. So this is at 16. I'm assuming, did you go to like open high school or was it like virtual school?
So yeah, it's actually called Alpha and Omega Academy, and
Mm-hmm.
it's an online school. It was actually really hard to find online schools that you could actually take, like the actual diploma. You could take that to a college and they would accept it. That was really hard to find. So this school in particular was for advanced students and like gifted students. So I had to like take placement tests every semester to stay enrolled in the school. And it's a private school. But 10th, 9th grade, 10th grade, I was in normal high school in Gloucester High School, back where I'm from, Gloucester, Virginia.
Gloucester.
Mhm.
So that's
Gloucester.
home. I know.
That's
Wow.
home.
Wow. You from Gloucester?
I'm from Gloucester. Yeah.
Wow. That
Yeah.
is okay. I know exactly where that's
Yeah.
at. I work with somebody from Gloucester. It's not many people in Gloucester. Y'all got like what
There's
one stoplight, two Kmart's, and a gas station.
there's not yeah, there's not many people in Gloucester. We just got a TJ Maxx. So that's like big news in Gloucester.
Wow, that is
Um
crazy. Who would have
mhm.
known the talent in Gloucester?
I mean, think about Chris Brown from Tappahannock. It's not too
Yeah,
far from there, in the middle of
yeah,
nowhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
I give it to you. So tell me this very important question, and I asked this question because I would imagine there's younger folks, particularly young ladies out there, that if they're not looking at you right now as an example, they're going to one day. Okay. Um, and probably are right now, particularly in Gloucester. Okay. So I mean, to me, I'm going to assume, I don't want to say it's an assumption. I mean, you obviously had talent that led you to have the opportunity that you did at that time. Okay.
Mhm.
But I'm going to imagine you also had very supportive family. Um, or, I mean, you had to have some support system because there's a lot of people that can't take that type of leap. It looks
Mm.
like so it seems like, and if I'm wrong, interrupt me, but it seems like there was some structure, some support in place that probably contributed to you being able to take the trip to Richmond, begin making you're starting pretty much a professional career in dancing. Um, Speak to that. Speak a little bit to your upbringing in regard to what made that transition smooth for you, because we see so many people, so many young people who struggle in just making an
Mm.
adjustment from high school to college. You made an adjustment
Right.
pretty much from middle school to high school age,
Mhm.
and now you're still doing that. And
Mhm.
so can you speak to what your support system was like that contributed to you being able to have a solid foundation?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really great question.
I'm
And
pretty good at these questions.
this
This is
is
like
what you
half
do.
the
Yeah.
question.
Thank you. Um, you know, I can only be honest, and I can't rewrite history. But I was in a very uh, interesting situation my home life. I grew up with a single mom. I'm also biracial. My mom is white, and the majority of my family that I live with in Gloucester is white. So I kind of grew up in a space where there wasn't a lot like me around. And I don't just mean Black people and biracial people, I mean like artistic people. I just didn't find my people and really super was accepted there. I danced in Williamsburg. I would always have to travel to Richmond. I would travel to DC. I was traveling to Atlanta. I was always traveling, New York, outside of where I was to find where I fit in and just what I liked. But even with that being said, when it came to dance, my family was very supportive. Every single one of them, I mean, whether it was my aunts, uncles, my grandparents, especially, they were picking me up, taking me to classes, had to help me with that. And they were devoted to helping me, letting me pursue my dreams because it was something that no one had really seen before. Nobody was expecting that to happen. But I'm not going to lie, not everyone thought that it was going to be what it was going to be. Yes, they knew I was talented. Yes, they wanted to encourage me. But when you're around people who haven't done what you've done, or you're trying to do something that the people around you haven't done, it's hard for them to mentally see that. And so, at 14, it was, sometimes my grandpa would maybe mention, get your head out of your cloud, get your head out of the clouds and let's get on the books. And, you can't really make money as a dancer and that's not a real job. But I was moved out and paying my own bills at 16 and had health insurance provided for me by a company at 16. And they're so proud of me for that. And they supported me every step of the way. But they would even say, yeah, we knew she was talented, but we weren't quite sure that that was going to happen. And it wasn't an easy decision for my mom to let me go. I mean, we were just having a conversation about this, a couple of days ago. I'm 21 now, and we still talk about some of the negative sides that came from letting me leave at that age, and how it was hard for her still being my mom, but not being able to know what I was doing all the time, not being able to control everything. But she didn't want to step in the way of me reaching my dreams. So there's a lot of give and take to, what kind of went down. But in terms of my support system, my family was definitely supportive, and you need that when you're pursuing stuff.
I don't know that we hear enough. I don't know that we hear enough stories and perspectives from the parents who pretty much embrace, I guess, the opportunities of allowing their children to live and aspire to reach their goals, particularly when they're non-traditional things. So shout out to your mom. Shout out to your mom for that.
Absolutely. She had to
not only shout
sacrifice
out
a
to your mom
lot.
for that, but shout out to your mom and your whole family for raising someone that has become who you've become. But at the same time, raising a little brown girl in Gloucester, Virginia, to be able to navigate through, God only knows what that was like. And maybe that was good. I don't know. But it was different, I'm sure, than some of the other experiences now that you've gained. I went to college in Southwest Virginia, East Tennessee. And I tell folks all the time, like, I got the best experience by being one of very few people of color in an area that was like 2% minority, and that 2% worked in like tobacco fields. Okay. So like I met white people who had never met people that was not white. All right. And there was the best. And when I look back at it, it was the best experience of my life. Didn't feel like it was then, but it was, because it has given me so much experience and knowing how to go through life now. It's like I got an education in that, basically.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I would imagine that, sometimes those early childhood experiences can really contribute a lot to.
And that's why I said that, because part of, yes, they supported me, but part of the reason I think I was really successful and why I did want to take that leap that you're talking about, a lot of younger kids, especially I think in my generation and Generation Z, we've seen so much. And, they say that my generation is going to be the generation that has the most to come back from COVID. I wanted to take that leap because I wasn't comfortable in the space I was in. And if there's one thing that'll get you to make a change, is when you don't like something, and I was very much so reaching a point where I was like, I'm not being valued in this space. And it wasn't by my family. It was just by literally everyone around me. Even the people I was dancing with, they were still racist. It was like really hard, so even in Williamsburg. So getting to Richmond, it was a whole different level. And I actually still experienced that in the company there, but I had more people around me that were like me. So I had people in my corner. But yeah, that was part of what forced me to make that leap and really wanted me to get in the car and go and stay in the studio all the time was, I want to get out of Gloucester.
No.
that was.
No, I think that's good. So what were your, starting out as a young person, dancing was the immediate passion, correct?
Yes.
It was dancing before singing.
Yeah. I thought I was going to be a ballerina until I was 35. And then I thought I was going to be Misty Copeland. Like that was definitely, and that was actually what I was. Like when I stopped dancing, it was not a easy thing. I was either going to be tied down in like a 5-year contract minimum, or I was going to choose my life, and I just was like, I've already given a decade of my life to this. I have to try something else. If I don't try this, I will regret it, and it's worked out in my favor so far. But yeah, I wanted to be a dancer forever.
Who were your music inspirations, and who are your music inspirations right now?
Oof. So I'll start with my earlier ones, because that was also a big part of the first like brown girls that I saw that looked like me were on TV.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for me. Rihanna, Beyonce, Mariah, seeing them, someone that looks like me, that was really impressionable to me as little as 6, 7, 8. But, I have different as I've gotten older, and also since I've started working on music and taking it more seriously and learning and having people around me that are investing in my knowledge, my inspirations have changed. I've gone a little bit further back, and I'm looking at, the Arethas and the Aaliyahs and Whitney Houston and Brandy's, and the space that I grew up in, that wasn't music that I was really hearing around me. So I've had to kind of go back and refine my love for those older artists as well. But yeah, I would definitely say, I really love Rihanna. She's always been someone, I'm half Jamaican. My dad lives in Jamaica. And so like her whole vibe is something that I relates to me a lot. But as same with Brandy, and younger Brandy specifically. When I look at her, I'm like, oh, I see me in her a little bit, from when she was young specifically. And I try to embody the things that I love about those artists, like Whitney Houston, her performance when she was like only 18, singing Home from The Wiz. Oof, I can't tell you how many times I've watched that, like those, especially younger art, like looking at them from when they are my age. I watched videos of Beyonce when she was 21, like I like to see what they were like at my age, because it's very hard to look at them now. And, as an artist, you're always going to compare, but I like to look at them when they were younger too.
Yeah. You said your father's from Jamaica. What part?
Mm-hmm. He lives in Maypen.
Maypen. I don't know if I'm familiar with that. Mm-hmm. I've traveled to Jamaica a few times. I don't know if I know Maypen though. I'm assuming that's like
it's like near Camden. It's like near Camden.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Do you visit Jamaica much?
I do not. Like obviously not during COVID, but no, I have not visited often. No. I want to.
I've really become I've recently I like a lot of music from Jamaica. What's the guy's name? He's a Marley, and I think it begins with an S. Man, he has a song right now with her that they've done together.
Oh, Skip Marley.
Skip Marley. Yeah, I really rock with Skip Marley.
Yeah, he's dope. Shanisa, she's my favorite artist out from there. Like, oh yeah, she's
yeah. Because I was asking, I was curious, being half Jamaican, if you had any Jamaican influences to your music.
So it's funny because before I could like even talk, my mom told me that I was like speaking patois and like singing in patois before I could even like speak. But now I don't really. I love listening to reggae, and I love listening to dancehall music and all that kind of stuff. But it's not super influencing the music that I make right now. I would love for it to in the future, but right now I'm like really in those beginning stages and in those that basic discovering my sound, However, my dad is like, we got to make some reggaeton, like like he's definitely.
Listen, maybe your Jamaican roots are playing more of a contribution to your dance and your rhythm.
Absolutely, I would say that for sure. Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, unless mom was dropping it like it's hot, and there's something about mom we don't know.
Hey,
maybe
look,
mom got the rhythm.
She has rhythm.
Really?
She does. She has rhythm. She is rhythm. She really does. And sometimes I'm in the booth and I'm like trying to catch stuff, and I'm like, do I not have? I'm like, no, because both my parents have rhythm. Okay, like
well,
they
then
do.
You blessed. Then you.
Yeah.
Okay, I apologize, mom. You got it honest. That's good. All right. So, Savvy, Nui, you recently put some music out. I know there's I just recently was listening to a song. Talk to me about the discography a little bit. Like, help bring us up, because it appears that you're always in the studio. It appears that you always in the studio.
I am.
To me, it appears that you treat your music and your dance like a professional athlete. Like you are constantly, I guess, training your voice, using the instrument that God has given you, and you're constantly dancing. And I mean, I'm from Charlotte. God, is the weather that great there? Because I mean, like, it seems like you're just outside every day, doing your Pilates or whatever you're doing. Like, I hope, is there like a net or something that we just can't see that's keeping you warm? Because
no, my body is keeping me warm, and the drive to be out there. Like,
oh my goodness, you're freezing.
Yeah. So,
you're not cold?
Well, and this is the thing. I wear layers, but also when you are working core muscles, it looks like I'm not doing much in Pilates, but I am doing small increments of movement and holding muscles. And I mean, that'll warm your body up quick.
Yeah, I can't stand on my head like
personally
that.
just really connect. Right. I just connect with the outside, a lot too. I love to be in nature. So even if it's cold, if the sun is out, like you were saying, the weather here, it's just been pretty rainy. All of February, we had about 7 days with the sun out. I'm going to run outside and get that sun, whether it's 2 degrees or, 50 degrees. I'm going to be out there.
Yeah. She's Jamaican.
But yeah, I just love to be outside.
Yeah, you're gonna get it. You're gonna take advantage. I'm the same way. I take advantage. Like today, as soon as my son got out of school, we was outside. Like I embrace it. I ride a bicycle, so I'm really into outdoors, and
I have a bike.
That.
Yeah, but in terms of being in the studio all the time, I am in the studio a lot, and it's interesting because I do have like people that will be like, "Man, you're in the studio all the time, but you're not releasing anything." And at
what's
first,
up with that?
Right. Well, we're developed, I'm still being developed. And also there's no reason to rush anything when you're in such a beautiful space that I'm in right now, which is not that many people have their eyes on me. I don't have a load of fans knocking at my door for an album. This is the time for me to really just do my own thing and take the time to hone in on my skills and be with my team. And, we got stuff, like we're kind of stockpiling right now and just trying different sounds. It almost seems like everything that we're doing is a little bit different, but still cohesive. And I'm just enjoying the ride. When the music comes, it's going to come. It's going to be great. But the journey for me has been super fun.
There's an artist. I can't remember her name right now. If I tried to figure it out right now, then I'm gonna try to mess with my phone a little bit. It's somebody I want you to check out, okay? Because I get she's one of my hold on. I'm gonna find it. I'll find it. And if I don't find it while we're having this conversation offline, I'll shoot you the message of who she is. I want you to check her out.
Totally.
Because I get a little hint. She's not like super huge, not really, but she kind of is like low key because like she's in the studio with Timbaland and she's in the studio with Dre. Like she's writing a lot of music that she may not be singing, but she can sing. She can. And you remind me of her a little bit. And she's actually spent some time in Richmond. I'm gonna find out. Figure out who it is. I'm gonna send you the message, definitely. Right? But
please
I'm
do.
I'm gonna share with you what one of my favorite hip hop artists of all time, who's a Richmond artist by the name of Nicholas F. What he said to me, and I'll never forget it. And I'm gonna share the same thing with you. It's like music requires TLC. Like give it tender love and care. Like allow yourself to sit on it. Let it age. Good music ages like wine and liquor, and it's like we're in a time right now in a climate where people microwave music. Like they put it out. I mean, we're in this climate anyway, so just scrolling. So it's like if people can easily get like tired of you, they can get easily oversaturated with you. So it's nothing wrong at all with like, packaging yourself. Like you may need to make 100 songs before you decide to put out the 10 that you want to in this project. Like 40 of those other 90 might be it may be valuable. It just may not be the 10 or the 7 for this project, Exactly. And then once people fall in love with you and they're thirsty for more, then, you got stuff that you can just drop every now and then, but I really believe that people should build. I think right now, the climate that we're in I think singles can really do what they need to do, because a lot of people are in, that's just the time we're in right now. Like a lot of people are not equipped to go through a whole album unless they have fallen in love with that artist. So package your music, let it age. That's fine. Just make sure that when you deliver it, you know what I'm saying, that hopefully you are still at a place where that you're in agreement with that music that you made when you put it out. To me, that's the most important thing. So keep packaging it. Now with your music right now and the music that you're making, because it seems like you put I don't know if it's an equal amount of emphasis in dance. I guess it's different dance now than it used to be, so how much are you putting into do you try to match your music with your dance? Does all of your music require dance, or like how do you approach that? Because you're in the studio a lot, and I don't know, is that just for exercise and fun or recreation, or are you
so I
that
think
with
it's
your
a
music?
little bit of, it's both. So right now, so being a dancer, it's a part of me. Like I was explaining before, it's literally a part of me. So that's just always going to be there. Like, so if I'm having a bad day, I want to get up and go dance, just like how I want to pick up the guitar and sing or something, or be in the booth. It's just one of those things. So I think one thing, kind of how you were saying, like I treat it like an athlete, being a dancer, I had to work on a lot of different things to be a great dancer, not just my physical body, but my mental ability, the competition, the anxiety for being on stage, diet and habits, literally constantly thinking in every single thing that I did outside the studio, in the studio, how is this going to affect me being a dancer? That's how I live my life now in terms of being an artist. I think of every single thing that I'm doing needs to be working towards the life that I want and the career that I want, which is being, a top artist. And so a lot of what I'll do, and which is why you probably see me in the studio a lot dancing, is if I have nothing to do, I'm gonna go to the studio and dance. So I'm gonna work on choreography. I'm gonna have it ready. We're all working on different videos and trying to put things together for choreography. And so I like to literally pretty much have about 4 different options for anything at all given times. And when it's a little bit more heavy of my recording schedule, it might be 2 weeks that I can't get in there and move. And I want that content. I work a lot so that I can get a lot of content and sit on it and release it as I need. But I want to be a touring artist. I want to be on like that Beyonce level where I'm dancing to every single one of my records on stage for 2 hours. That's the level that I want. That's the kind of performer I want to be. So I want to train on that level now and always keep both of them staying together, so it's not like one's way significantly less. So that's kind of the way I view it.
Beyonce is so my favorite. Like she's so my favorite. Like
everyone's.
He's so my favorite for every reason that she's everybody's favorite. She's my favorite. I think that I don't really think there's been a person in our time in the past 20 years, female vocalist, R&B artist, dancer, that's touched her. Would you agree? Would you disagree?
No, I 100% agree. She's a machine and she's one of a kind.
She married the best rapper of all time.
Right.
And he married the
highest paid performer of all time, pretty much. Yeah.
Now, I noticed how you said highest paid performer. Okay. So like, because I get in debates with people all the time. Like, I do think that Jay-Z, I mean, I'm from that era where I remember when Jay-Z dropped. I was in high school, like when Hard Knock Life dropped in 1996. Like there was nothing to me better than Jay-Z, and it hasn't changed since. Okay.
No, I've met people that feel this way. Like,
but you probably don't feel this way, do you? Like Jay-Z's not your favorite rapper of all time.
I wasn't here in 96, so I ain't got much to say about it. I wasn't here to experience it.
Oh God. Oh God, you're aging me. Oh God, but
so like my favorite album is 444. Though I respect 444. I love 444, but like real Jay-Z fans are like, so
that's your favorite album now? That's your favorite album or your favorite Jay-Z album?
By Jay-Z album, not my favorite album, my favorite Jay-Z album.
Who's your favorite rapper? All time. Who's your favorite rapper?
My favorite rapper? Oh my gosh. So I feel like people are gonna hate me for saying like certain things, but my favorite female rapper is Rhapsody, and she's from Raleigh. And it's funny because I didn't even know I fell in love with her 2 years ago before I even came to North Carolina. But she's my favorite female rapper. My favorite male rapper? Oh, this is hard. I don't know. I'd have to say Nas. I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to say Nas.
So Nas is your favorite. Hold on. Yeah. Okay, so Nas is your favorite male rapper.
So that's the thing. I'm not.
You're gonna say
Well, you
Nas
can't
is your
ask me,
favorite male
have a
rapper,
favorite.
but you wasn't around in '96, okay? But Nas is your favorite male
But
rapper. Why is Nas your
true,
favorite male
okay.
rapper? Why?
I don't know. I just dug into his story. And I loved it. Everybody's watched the Netflix series on hip hop, so and diving deep down into the history of it. And they covered Jay-Z too, but Nas I stuck with because he was young. He was like a prodigy. And I relate to that. And a lot of times people don't live up to what they are. They peak when they're young. And so I have respect for people even like Chris Brown, who they still make it, they're just talented from the get-go. And I don't know, I just remember watching and being like, I see a little bit of myself in him. But maybe he's not my favorite rapper. I do have multiple, I don't have really favorite anything when it comes to artists because I love everything. I really love it all. So it's hard to use that word.
So let me ask you this. Let's say that, all right, not to be negative. This is a hypothetical situation, okay? I mean, I desire to reach as many people that I possibly can through communication. Okay. So what I love to do, I love to have conversations, right? As an artist, you desire to perform and display your gift and talent to as many people as you possibly can, right? All right. Would you be happy doing that as a backup vocalist and a backup dancer to a Beyonce or anybody versus you being in the front, and someone being your backup? Compare that. I want you to think about that hypothetically. And I want you to take this in consideration. I mean, now with the internet, an artist doesn't necessarily need a label. An artist doesn't necessarily need a machine behind them. They just need to be able to present themselves to provide visibility so that people can hear them. And it only takes one song. And that might all you need, and you still can live out your thing, right? But there's only so many artists to get signed per few record labels that's out there that's mainstream a year, right? So the chances of becoming a successful, and I'm not trying to be negative, this is more of a hypothetical situation, but the chances of becoming signed to a major label or, even creating that success on your own through a social media platform is about as likely as a person going to the NBA.
Yeah.
There's only 4. So in the NBA draft, you get, there's about 60 some folks a year to get picked up, right? So look at music like that. About 60 people a year get a chance to get a major contract, right? Would you be okay accepting a backseat to what's the baby's girlfriend name? What's her name?
The baby's girlfriend?
What's her girlfriend name? Like Danny Lee or something like that, right?
So I think they were together. I thought you meant Megan Thee Stallion at first. Danny Lay.
Yeah, Danny Lay. So let's say
would I be a backup dancer?
Would you be okay with just if that was it? Would you be okay with that? Still successful. You wouldn't be okay with it?
No.
Okay, good.
No. So, and I'm going to answer this because I've answered this. I've already been in this situation.
You've been a backup for somebody like that?
Not someone like that, but I've already experienced the situation. I'll just explain it like this. When I first got into musical theater, that's when I first was told by professionals, you have a great voice. And here I am playing a role. And yes, it's my first time, but I'm understudying the lead role and I'm playing in the cast. And we did about 36 shows, 8 weeks of shows. And it ate me inside because I don't need the accolades. I just could not stand it. And it's not because she was gorgeous. She played it perfectly. It would still fill my soul the same way, but I'm just in the back singing it. It doesn't matter. I have to, and it's not something that I'm not going to say that it wouldn't change in the future. I'm not going to say that at 25, I would feel the same. I don't know, but I know that personally for me, the reason why I wanted, what made me decide to be a songwriter specifically and want to pursue being a musician and an artist is because being on stage and singing someone else's lyrics, playing a role someone else told me to play, I could not do it. It felt really inauthentic, even so much so to something that I trained in for a decade. Once I reached a true point of where I think I became an actual creator on the inside, I was really done being the clay. I really was done being the clay, you know? And
that's good.
I just, why do it? Why do it if you're gonna do it halfway? Like, if I'm gonna be on stage with Beyonce, I'm gonna be the Beyonce. You know, it's just like, why would I be on, you know, and it's no knock to other people because everybody plays their part. I just know for me, that would be hell for me.
Good job. Keep that.
I would
keep that determination, keep that fire, because that was a great answer. Because let me tell you what happens with a lot of people. They get what I call professional cancer. Okay. They get professional cancer is when they get complacent they get content and complacent at the same time because they're just going through the motions of reaping the fruit and the success of what comes with just being involved in the industry. I'm getting the paychecks, I'm getting the attention, I'm getting the looks, I'm getting the benefits, I'm getting the opportunities. I'm fine. And
I'm satisfied.
I'm satisfied, yeah. And they stop aspiring for more. So like, not only do I believe what you said, because you answered it very well, but it came with conviction. And it came with a sense of a passion that if you got that, then you're good. You're good to go. Just don't lose it. Don't lose it at 22. Yeah. Don't lose it at 23.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because what happens, the reason why people get complacent and they get what I call professional cancer is because over time, they just become thinking like, you know, okay, dang, it ain't happened yet. So it's like, then it's like you constantly evaluate, well, what is success for me? You know, but you're going to be a success. As long as you continue to think that way, believe that way, and continue with the same habits that you have, you know, like stay in the studio, do all of those things that you're doing, then, you know, whatever you want to do is going to happen. And I truly believe it. I told you before this interview, I think I just have a knack for knowing, and I believe that it's going to happen. And I think one of the things which you shared with me before we got on camera was that you not only did you have a good support system, you know, in your youthful years, but you do now professionally. You have management around you. You have people around you that's looking out for your best interests. They see you, support you, and they're professional. And you know, embrace that. That's such a big deal because there's so many people, particularly young folks, you know, who go through the path of being juggled around in many different hands and unfortunately get manipulated. And so I'm hopeful that through your journey, through your path, that you can be an example for these folks and you can share with them your experiences, and you can point, and you can be a model also at pointing them into direction so that they can go ahead, shout out your management. They need the plug. Give them respect.
Yes. So my producer is J Smash. On Instagram, that's I am J Smash. Definitely check him out. He's worked with amazing artists, and he is just like literally the next one up in terms of out in the producer game.
That's sure. I am Jay.
I am just J. I am J SMASH. And then my executive, and he's my producer's partner, and he also co-produces everything and helps us write everything. He's really like the glue that keeps everything together and keeps all of us moving forward. That's Rich Bartel, and he's literally like, he's OG, and he's gonna hate me if I call him old because he's not old, but having an old head in the game around is necessary, because we're younger. And it's necessary because, like you said, I'm taking full advantage. I'm taking full advantage of the conversations with him, of his experiences, so that I can learn as much as I can. And, ultimately, what would be great, because I understand that a lot of artists don't have the opportunity that I have. I want to be able to recreate this in the future for another artist, what they're giving me.
Yeah, bring some young queens up.
That's the goal. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
I think your future is very bright. I think your future is very bright. And And I think that you have the attitude. And, one of the things I think you need to remember and keep very close to you that's going to contribute to your future is like your upbringing. I'm not talking about your parents' piece, but the fact that as a younger artist, between 16 and 19, when you were spending that time in Richmond, you was really required to grow up fast. And that there has probably been successful for you at this point in your career now. So just remember how you can be an example for other younger artists or people even within your own current demographic that are struggling with that. It's like, it's like, some people don't know how to act when they go to college, and they're back after their freshman year. So I think you've had enough experience in your career already that I got one more question for you, and then we're going to go segue to how I end shows. My next question for you is that how much do you think that visual looks contribute to success in your career? And I'm asking that because of something you said, like just in regard to in the beginning, once you begin trying to figure out how to market yourself. I thought that was interesting. So tell me, how much do you think that is? Because, people say beauty is an eye of the beholder. I'm learning how to pick and choose how I disagree publicly because.
Right. Be careful. This is on there.
I know. I mean, trust me. Listen, I've already messed up.
This is episode 66. Yeah.
I've already messed up so many times. Like I got into a debate with a fashion beauty expert when I said that I don't agree, and I don't agree. Michelle Obama, respect to the Queen, First Lady, and now you getting defensive.
Watch what you say, because
I know you getting defensive from the gate. I don't mind having this argument. I don't mind. It's because look, as soon as you say the First Lady, all right, as soon as you say, Michelle Obama, Black women across the world want to go ahead and get, what I'm saying? They want to flex. I'm like, listen, all I'm saying is that if she worked at the kiosk, what I'm saying, at South Park Mall, and she was over there right now selling, cologne that was like from Avon, some cheap shit. Let's be real. Y'all would not be paying attention putting her on Essence magazine. Y'all wouldn't be doing it. Y'all would not. And I'm mad that the world, I feel like I'm sorry, I apologize. But I feel like as soon as I say this, everyone looks at me like, why are you talking about the First Lady? I'm looking at y'all and I'm saying like, why are y'all taking advantage of the fact of just because she's the First Lady, the first Black family in the White House, in a respectable family. And I'm not saying she's ugly. I'm not saying that anybody's ugly. Let's just get at it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying she wouldn't be on Essence, Ebony, and Sports Illustrated. She would not be.
Well, she got on the cover of magazines for what she accomplished and what she did. And that in itself is like, that's
okay.
Light years over looks, light years over sweet,
but the emphasis ain't put on what she did though. The emphasis put on how beautiful she is. So what are we talking about?
This is a perfect segue into answering your question though, which is, how much do you think looks matter? For a woman, 70-30, 100% looks matter. Like 70% of like what you bring to the as a woman, you are seen before you're heard in any industry. You are more likely to be listened to if you're inviting to the eye. But then also to both genders, attractive people move around this world a lot differently than not normalized by normal standards, or who, whatever the world classifies as beautiful. People who don't meet those standards, they walk through life differently. This is something that I've known my whole life, specifically being someone who grew up in a young age so visually different than everyone around me. I was the only Black kid in all my classes, never had a Black teacher, never had a boy that was interested in me that was Black, because they weren't really around me. Like when I was younger, obviously different now.
I never had a Black teacher either, by the way. Never had a Black teacher. I kind of had some similar experiences.
So there you go. For women nowadays, looks I think for women, looks have always been a thing. And that's, speaking about Michelle Obama, they would focus on what she was wearing during speeches that she was making on behalf of Obama and behalf of Barack. They would comment on the fact that her arms were exposed, even though first ladies in the past that were white always had their arms exposed. They would comment because hers were a little bit more muscular or things, instead of listening to what she had to say. And, even you pointing out, like, well, she wouldn't really be on this. Well, yeah, because she's there for what she knows. And we only are saying that about her because she's a woman. If she were a man, you go, if she were Barack and Barack wasn't attractive, nobody would be like, man, Barack, the president ain't really that attractive. We don't care. He's not here for looks. He's here for what he does. That's how we should be approaching women in positions like that. We shouldn't even be thinking like, was she attractive or not? We do that because that's what society does to women. But we don't question when men.
You sound like my wife. God bless.
We don't question men when they're in high places. We don't talk about how Elon Musk looks. We don't talk about how nasty Jeff Bezos looks, because no one cares because of what they do.
I mean, I get, listen, you are far beyond your years. Like, you sound like my wife right now. Like, okay, so I'm with you, but I ain't talking about what she knows.
I understand.
And I don't think that, God, I don't want this to be negative. I lose people here.
It's not negative. It's a conversation.
People don't like when I talk like this. That's a Jay-Z thing. They don't know, because it's like, come on now. When you put somebody on the front cover of a magazine, it's not because of what they know, unless it's Forbes or like.
But she was at one point, and probably still is, the most popular person in the world. One of the during the campaign, during their time in office, and specifically during their campaign before they were elected, she was one of the most Googled people on.
Married to the most swagged out president this world has ever seen. You know what I'm saying?
She's one of the most famous people in the world. So of course she's going to end up on a magazine. But if we switch it and we're talking about our industry, music industry, visual arts, as terrible as it is, this is a visual art. This is a visual art. And there are strict things that work in, visual arts. Sex sells. Attractive people work. That's why we see attractive people on State Farm. Jake from State Farm. How did you get so hot, Jake from State Farm? Like, out of nowhere.
I don't know Jake.
So the new Jake from State Farm with Drake in the commercial.
Jay that guy? Is Jay that guy?
Yeah. Look, Drake, like, they got Drake from State Farm too, and Jake. They got two with that one commercial, the two of them sitting next to each other. Look, that's what I'm trying to say. People that look good, they're gonna always get up there. And specifically in the music industry and performing arts industry, you gotta look good. And it's the same thing for guys. I feel like there's a lot of male artists that are slept on because they're not really like appealing to women. Like there's certain people, like for example, a lot of people say Lucky Day isn't hitting people like that. And I'm like, I think he's attractive, but it's like not everybody, not the mass of people might not think, of women might not think that. And I mean, if maybe he looked a little different, maybe his music would be a little, be received better. Same with like Daniel Caesar, love him, but are women really falling over Daniel Caesar? Not really, because he's not what, society is telling us is attractive in men. So it's the same with women. It's just worse with women, unfortunately. And that's something that I would really love to, when my platform does grow and I do actually have a space to hold space for people, that is what I want to create with my music. I want to create a space where girls, young Black women of all shapes, sizes, colors, complexions, backgrounds, feel like my music is a space where they're accepted and their like feelings are there. Like right now, I'm writing a lot about my experiences just as a young woman. Like, and they're not all pretty, they're not all great. It's not easy being a woman. It's just not.
No, that was that. I think that right there might, if we, I clip things, that might have been one of the most compelling clips I think that you've had here that can speak to you as a vocal leader, an example through this movement of women and change. look, my wife would hates it when I talk about Michelle Obama. And the reason why is because she feels like the best way to say it. It's like it's like if you can't say anything positive or nice, then black men really do not need to be speaking in any type of negative or derogatory way toward any black women, because that only contributes to what society as a whole and the masses are doing to try to bring black women down. And that is not what I'm trying to do. It isn't.
Mm-hmm.
I promise it's not. I love, black women. It's not that at all. What I don't like, and this is really what my intent is here, and why I use her as an example, and I gotta stop. But my intent is, it's not about Michelle Obama, but it's about these media platforms who, in my opinion, are pimping her and pimping other black women to say, in dictating what they want to portray as. I think they're dictating and trying to portray what they want to as beautiful, just because of how they can draw dollars to that. If that's the case, and this is what I like, then put anybody on the front of a magazine cover. That's my thing. Put anybody on the front of a magazine cover that's deserving because of where their value is, and don't make it about looks. But from what I see, 9 times out of 10, when you put someone on the front of a magazine cover, it's about looks. So when you put someone on a magazine cover and it don't appear to be about looks, then what is your motivation behind that?
Right.
And if it's going to be about what they know, that's probably, but you put them on there because what they know contributes to big dollars going to your bottom line because of attention.
Right.
And that's really
you gotta
really
think
my
about
angle.
it. Yeah, I'm totally understandable, and I hear you and I understand you, but you also got to think about it. Magazines have to make money, and who are they going to put on the front of, the cover of their magazine that they need you to buy? They're going to put someone that you're going to look at and buy, whether they're attractive, whether it's someone who is popular in culture at that time. They're going to do that. And it's funny to me because I'm hearing this and I'm curious, like, what magazine cover is in your mind with Michelle Obama on it? Because I'm
That's
sure
a
there's
bunch
like
a bunch of them. I mean, think about it. There's so many of them. So many
and the
of them.
problem that I have with this is you also have to understand a lot of the times Black women specifically aren't really they aren't actually shown well on magazines. They're not being styled by people who know how to style them. They're not being lit by people who do lighting, who know how to light people of color. They're not showing them in the best way that they can, which is really dangerous, because why would we put pretty much our representation in the hands of like white people or people who don't know how to show us and represent us well? There's been issues with this recently with like Simone Biles and like the pictures that was put in like a magazine for her, and how they were like, these aren't even flattering photos. They should have done this differently. And if you look at publications that are Black owned, the photos are completely different. They show completely different expression. And it's weird because what I've noticed, same with Megan Thee Stallion in a recent cover too, you look at it and you're like, she looks like just the way they did her makeup, it just doesn't represent her at all, or her culture or anything. So when they're trying to whitewash in a way and trying to really shape what a Black woman is going to look like in their idea, and instead of letting us come in and just express ourselves the way that we need to and bring our own team in, it's going to come across really weird. It's going to come across kind of inauthentic. It might come across abrasive. It might come across just misplaced, because most likely there weren't Black people, their hands weren't in part of that picture and stuff like that. So all of that, I think, plays into it.
This is good right here. This is the real vegan burger right here. You know what I'm saying?
Let's go, that Impossible Burger.
This is good. I think your whole perspective on all of this showed many wise beyond your years. So I'm gonna close it up on some light stuff. All right.
Cool.
All right. I'm gonna ask you like some random questions here. First off, again, thank you for being a guest on the Randy Wilson podcast.
Thank you.
I don't know
if you
know,
me.
but my background is in like clinical counseling and therapy services. So my approach toward conversation is not to be objective or controversial by any means. It's really to get people to kind of tell their story, show their perspective. But this was good. I got to probably stay away from these Michelle Obama conversations because it's part of the reason why my female viewing is like 30%. But you're gonna
Well, this
help
will
me with that,
help.
right?
This will help.
You're gonna help me with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love my black women. Okay. All right. And I love Michelle Obama. I really do. I do.
We all do.
I just don't know if
She's
she
a
need to be, I just don't know if
representation
she
of
need to be
us.
on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a beauty. I'm stop. I'm stop. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop.
I want to see her up there. So
I'm gonna stop. All right, here we go. You ready? Just answer. Don't think too much. All right.
All right.
Childhood crush, celebrity. Childhood. I mean, now if you want to talk about the guy over from Gloucester High School, you're more than welcome.
No.
He was like in the band. He played the saxophone. He was like 16. I mean, you can. But I was thinking celebrity. Keep it easy.
Right. I was into TV, so I always had like characters, that I would have crushes on. First celebrity crush, I know I have one. Oh my gosh, I actually know my first one from when I was youngest, Jaden Smith. He was like my first little crush when I was like 11, 10 years old. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, I do remember being pretty obsessed with him. And
how about now? If Jaden saw you now in the mall, like, could he have a shot?
I'm sure that he'd want to talk to me. But I don't know, I'd definitely be like, I want to meet your sister. I'd probably be more interested in being friends with Willow because she's like my age. And I think he's only like a year older than me. But I know there was one guy, I know there was someone I was obsessed with in high school and I just don't remember. And I'm like trying to, I can't think about it. But yeah, no, I remember when I was younger, it was definitely Jaden Smith. And I don't know, maybe like Chris Brown or something, when I was in like high school, probably just, dancing guys, guys.
But could Chris Brown have a shot now?
I have no idea. I don't know this person. I understand as an artist that we're putting up pictures, we're putting up a whole facade, we're putting up a lot. So, I'd have to meet these people real life. I understand that these are real people. I don't see them as, normal. I don't see it. I understand that what they're doing for the cameras is very different from how they live their real life. So I had to meet them.
Very, very mature, very mature. By the way, the artist that I wanted to tell you, and I'll shoot you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just send their profile to you. Okay.
Oh yes, please do.
This is Cheyenne Levine. Okay. Check her out.
Okay, cool.
Check her out. And she has a song. She has a song, I forget the name, Runaway. Just check that out. Remember that, okay? Runaway, yeah. Cheyenne Levine. End of story, okay? Check it out.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. So you spoke earlier about like artists, like, everything you do has to go into everything you want. So what does that mean from a diet standpoint?
Ooh, so my relationship with food.
Like, you don't eat cheeseburgers? Do you eat fried chicken? Cheeseburgers? Do you have bacon?
I used to love bacon. I eat what I want to eat. I'll tell you that. I don't restrict myself. And that is also why my weight fluctuates. Like, being a woman also, like, my weight really fluctuates with how my life is going. And sometimes if I'm just literally busier, I just eat less. But in terms of like making sure that every single thing in my life is on track to get me where I'm trying to go, that means everything. That means what I'm eating too, which is one of the reasons why I run and sing now. And one of the reasons why I will wake up and have a protein smoothie before I eat, because I want to keep myself ready for the day, or I know I'm going to be in the studio late or something like that. So for me, I'm really lucky. I'm naturally thin. I have a fast metabolism, but I did have a really hard relationship. I had a rough relationship with food as a professional dancer because I was on a restricted diet. I'm 5'4", and I had to stay under 110 pounds to be contracted. And that was one of the reasons why I ultimately stopped dancing too. It was just impossible and super unhealthy. So I've had to kind of retrain my brain to see food as fuel. and purely that. So yeah, I'm like still working towards that, but I eat healthy. But I'm gonna eat a burger. If I want a burger, I eat Taco Bell a little too much than I should. I don't eat meat though. So like I'll have a black bean burger, but like I'll still go and eat French fries or have Taco Bell minus the meat, which is really good. If I want, and I eat candy. I got some Starburst jelly beans today at Target because they're good.
What about alcohol? Do you have alcohol?
Yeah, I mean, I drink. I'm not a huge drinker, which is funny because that's one of the things that my mom says to me, that she's like, you've always been just a good kid. Like you've just always naturally just like never done too much, on my birthday, when I turned 21 this summer, I went and got one drink, I'm not much of a drinker. I'll have a social drink. I definitely don't drink alone. Like I'm not someone who keeps alcohol in my house really. So
oops.
Yeah, I don't have that. Yeah, as I'm saying,
that's good.
That's not.
Hey,
yeah,
choose good friends. Okay, choose good friends so you can stay on that good track. All right, 100%. That's a good thing. All right.
I'm the good friend. I'm the good influence usually.
So outside of dance, like what did you have any other sports that she was involved in?
Oh yeah, I grew up super athletic. So I growing up in Gloucester. Did horseback riding like every other girl in Gloucester.
Wow.
And
the family that I'm friends with, last name Skelding. Okay. Skelding family in Gloucester, they have a big horse farm out there.
Yeah, it sounds really familiar.
Yeah. I mean,
my Nana owned a horse farm. She has horses, so I grew up on horses and doing that.
You may be related to Skeldings for all I know.
Who knows?
I work with them.
It's a small town in Gloucester. They probably know my mom because my mom, she owns like the hair salon there. Like she's a little celebrity there. Like she's got it down pat. Gloucester knows my mama. But in terms of I did soccer, was super great at that because a lot of the muscles that you use for soccer are the same kind of muscles that you need for dance. So like, my calves got that on point. Yeah. And then also pole vaulting. I did pole vaulting in track like a year before.
Random.
No, because you have to be really small, fast, compact, and tight, but then also be really flexible and be able to bend and like move with air. But yeah, I did that.
Can you touch the backboard? Can you touch the backboard?
Can I? You know what? I don't think so. So I can jump. I have a really great jump, and that was actually one of the things that I was good at in dance. And like, yes, I was surrounded by a bunch of white girls, but I was always the shortest in the class. So it had nothing to do with me being black because I was the shortest in the class and I could still jump taller than, the 5'7" girls. But I could probably do it on a good day. Maybe the little bottom part.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Let me see here. And I guess I'll end it with this. I got two questions I end it with. In 2021, we can expect from Savvy what?
Growth. Real growth. Like real growth that you can see. Like on my page, on my discography, I have, features coming out with artists that I can't name now, but I have a lot coming, and not just release wise.
You can't name anything. You can't tell us something.
No,
nothing.
Nope. But
are these names that we know? Are these names that we know, or we need to know, or?
Absolutely. And
I saw you on the Hairwave music group. I seen you on that.
Their chapter playlist. Yeah, That was awesome. That was less than like 30 days after releasing my very first anything as an artist. That was for me like one of those stamps.
Don't be surprised, but you should. It's no. But you do not need to be surprised though. You don't need to be surprised.
I appreciate that. And actually, little shout out to two of my two friends of mine who are also artists in Richmond and DMV area, Amira Zaki, and also she's an R&B artist, and also Pedro. These are two artists that I know. Didn't really grow up with them.
The first one you mentioned, I know who she is because of the Cloud.
The Cloud. She works for them, I think. Yeah,
she did. She recently performed with an artist that I did some work with, Cardi 1K, this past weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah,
they did a really great Twitch performance or like a live stream, a virtual show.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they've also been placed on this playlist too, which is great. That's what I meant by like being in Richmond. It almost seemed like if you weren't in music, you weren't really doing anything in Richmond. Like the people I was around, everybody was doing that. So, but yeah.
That's good. So we'll close with this because this will have. Actually, it's interesting. This is episode 66. These are pre-recorded, so it'll be a few weeks before it actually airs. Episode 67 is going to be with DJ Cool. I don't know if you're familiar with DJ Cool, but he's the DJ that let me clear my throat. Just a little bit, it's like a DC thing, like let me clear my throat.
Yeah, no, so, I know who DJ Cool is. I'm pretty positive. Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
I didn't want to predate you. I know you were born in the 2000s. I didn't want you because
99.
99. Okay, dang. But yeah, he's the next guest. Why did I bring this up? Oh yeah, I brought this up though because through the process of conversations, like my schedule is kind of like I know what it is for the next couple of months, pretty much. But I build relationships through the process of the relationships I develop, right? So, what would you say to the next guest? Because if you have someone that you would suggest that would be a good guest for the show, you can let me know. Mm-hmm. But what would you suggest to the next guest in regard to why they should consider being a guest on the Randy Wilson podcast? This is a free flow. You can say whatever you want. It's not going to be edited. And if you say something about, hey, he's going to slam Obama's, whatever.
I'll leave that out because I'm sure you might edit it.
I do very little editing here. So just tell me, what would you say to the next guest in regard to why they should consider being a guest on the show?
I would say that anyone should consider being a guest on the Randy Wilson podcast because you're not being interrogated. This is a conversation. It's an open space. And I also feel like I'm being heard and well received. A lot of times in just normal conversations with people in the industry they're not really listening to you. I think you're a great listener. And also the questions that you ask kind of help me really like think about some things on my own, and you've given me some pointers and tips as well. Like I've left this more equipped than I came into it, so thank you for that.
Well,
that's what I would say to the next guest. Yeah,
thank you. It's a pleasure to have you again. I think it's my background and what I do. I got into this 9 to 5. I do a lot of things that require the same skill set. So from 5 to 9 I try to utilize those same skills, but switch up the demographic of who I'm focusing on and what I'm doing to give people a platform to use their voice. And my goal is to continue to push this and to expand this and see where it goes. So happy to have you on as a guest of the show.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing the continuation of your journey. And hope to have you back one day also, because when you get like super big, when you get like super big, you can't forget about the little people, okay?
Look, let's hopes and prayers. But I would love to come back. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, next show is gonna be in Gloucester. We're gonna pull up at the beauty salon where all the women gossip. I'm talking to your mama. Hey, you can share this with your mama. Your mama and them gossiping.
She knows about it. We did a whole prayer over FaceTime before, so she knows.
Oh,
she's like, send me the link when it goes up. Yeah, she's like, is it live? So.
Well, listen, Mom. I hope we did well. I hope you're not talking about me as it pertains to Queen Obama. But no, for sure. Shout out Gloucester, Virginia. Okay.
Shout out Gloucester.
The Randy Wilson podcast is part of our goal to not only like put emphasis on the creatives, the change makers of our community, but this is Virginia's #1 podcast for hip hop content and intentional dialogue. And what I mean by that is that there's very intentional focus behind everybody we speak to. We're very strategic about who we speak to. No, we're not just talking about anybody. Anyone just cannot be on the show. They can't. Mm-hmm. They can't, because if anybody was on the show, it would take away from the brand and the quality of the guests that we have on the show. Everyone on the show is making an imprint in their respective industry to make change in not only their area expertise, but its impact on the community. And so that's kind of what we saw in you. We saw that we see you spinning And it's just a matter of time in regard to where you're going to go. And I think that you're going to be a great example for those who follow you. And not only to those who follow you, but those who've been around you, from the ballerina space to where you are now. So a lot of ballerinas right now looking at you and like, I wish I would have took that path, So,
the Richmond Ballet, their actual Instagram, and I can say this because they know it's true, watches my stories to this day. But they're proud of me. They're proud of me. And they told me to just make sure that I stayed a performer because they were sad to see me go, but they were like, you have something, just don't give up. Whatever you do, don't give up. And that's what they left me on after 7+ years of investing in me to really be their star. I got up and took all of the information they gave me and left,
Yeah.
So,
and you'll go back and you may go back and they may open for you one day.
Look, maybe I can donate some things to push things forward. That would be lovely.
Yeah. But thank you, Savvy, for being a guest on the show. We're going to close.
Thank you.
Thank you all for listening. Gloucester, Charlotte, Richmond, DC, everywhere just listening. This is episode 66. You can find me on any platform that podcasts are played except SoundCloud. If you got a problem with that, go talk to them about it. I don't know. They don't rock with me. And you can learn more at randywilsonpodcast.com. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, and good night.